and do that. But I essentially doubt it because he still gives that introduction exactly the way I wrote it up. So I think he knew he had it coming. I want to begin by thanking Corey, obviously, for the work that he did on the campaign. There are a number of you all in the audience who contributed mightily to the success of the campaign, including Jeanette Mobley. We got a couple of people, a couple of NC commissioners, including Commissioner David Hooper, who's in the room as well. We got a young guy back there in the back who's hiding out named John Mandel, who was really integral in helping us win the election. We've got, he was next, I see Adrian right there. We got Adrian, who's also in the audience. And so I tend not to name names just because inevitably you leave somebody out when you do that. But I wanted to highlight some of the critical folks who are in the room tonight who really helped to propel us to victory. As Corey stated, it was a spirited campaign. But in Ward 5, who would expect anything less?
That's right.
Mr. King, isn't this how we do it in Ward 5? We started out with about 25 candidates in the race. We ended up with about 11 candidates in the race. And, I will tell you, for those of you who have never, ran for office in Ward 5, it takes a certain level of commitment, courage, energy, to really, put yourself on the line, to open yourself up to scrutiny, and to really, I can only speak for myself, but to give it all you have in order to contribute in service. And so, none of these folks are here tonight, but all the candidates who ran, I think, the next time you see them, they deserve congratulations as well, because they really worked hard throughout the election, and obviously with campaigns, there's only going to be one winner. But I think at the end of the day, we're all winners because we had a lot of good people to choose from.
That's right.
And I wanted to recognize them. And just so you know, the healing has already begun. A number of them reached out to me on election night to congratulate me. I've spoken to some of them since then to invite them to the swearing in tomorrow as well as to the unity breakfast on Friday. I think that's important to the process that we have to go through to move Ward 5 forward, to recognize that there are a lot of people with a lot of different personalities, a lot of ideas and opinions, but that to me is what helps to comprise Ward 5. That's what makes up the beauty of Ward 5, is that you've got so many different people, you've got so many different personalities and opinions, you've got a beautiful diversity that exists in this ward, and I want to make sure that every opportunity that I get, that we celebrate that diversity that exists in this ward. Quite frankly, I think the diversity is one of the strengths of our campaign, was that we tried to the best of our ability to touch every corner of the ward to let everybody know how important they were in this process called government. And so, whether you were in Fort Lincoln, you were in Langston Carver Terrace, North Michigan Park, Edgewood, Bloomingdale, Stronghold, we wanted to reach out to you to include you in this process, to let you know that you have a voice in shaping your own government and shaping your own future and shaping what your community looks like. And so I know my job is not to do everything, although I'm sure there's some people who think it is. My job is not to do everything. My job primarily is to be a facilitator, to try to the extent possible to provide people with the tools they need to empower themselves. And I know we've got a long way to go, that I've got my work cut out for me, but I think folks understand that this is a partnership. This is not a one-man show. I would not have be in this place where I am right now without the help of a lot of folks in this room, but also a lot of people across the ward. Even if you were on another campaign, the work that you've done in this ward over the years has made it the beautiful place it is to live, work, and to raise a family. And so I'm benefiting from all your hard work. I stand on the shoulders of a lot of people who are in this room tonight and across the ward who've really been putting in the work, perhaps have not been receiving the recognition that people like me get when I win an election. And so I think that's important as we move forward and try to heal the ward and bring people together. I'm going to do everything in my power to get that done. And obviously, I want to be able to count on you to contribute, as you have been doing in the past, to moving the ward forward as well. Inclusiveness is something that's important. It's not just a buzzword for me. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. We tend to focus a lot on the things that make us different. And the media helps us out with that. But I love to get us to move to a place where we focus more on the things that we have in common in Ward 5. I think that's very important. everybody in Ward 5, regardless of your race, your class, your sexual orientation, your gender, everybody wants to make sure that we have public safety, that everybody is safe when they leave their homes. They want to make sure we have affordable housing so that people of all different classes and income levels can live in this city. They want to make sure that people are connected to jobs and economic development, positive community-oriented economic development. They also want to make sure the kids have first-rate education. These are the things that people want in Ward 3, Ward 2, and they get those things. And we want to hear in Ward 5, and I want to be the champion for all the residents in Ward 5, including residents who are too young to vote in this process, and their parents, and particularly our senior citizens, who have helped to pave the way for where we are today. I want to make sure our senior citizens have a more meaningful voice in the process, and that we engage them the best we can. And so there are a lot of things I know I can do to facilitate that process, but I'm going to continue to call on you all to make sure that we do that as well. And I'm not going to, if you know me, you know that I don't talk too long. I'm a doer and less of a talker. But I wanted to make sure that I talked a little bit about some of the things we did on the campaign trail and how important it is to make sure that we move it forward. There were key people in other campaigns who reached out to me directly to tell me that they're ready to go to work. The campaign is over. It's time to put the past behind us, and I think that is quite fitting, because if you notice, along the campaign trail, you never heard me talk about what happened in the past in Ward 5. I've been focused on the future of Ward 5, and I think that's what most folks in this ward want us to focus on. And so I see a hand being raised, and so without talking too much longer, I'm going to open it up. First of all, just to really reiterate my thanks to all of you all. I know we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but I also know that the Ward 5 Dems just had a great fundraiser a little while ago, and that we're already starting the process and building an even stronger Ward 5 Dems organization. I want to do everything in my power to improve and to facilitate and help you all become even stronger. So any way I can help out, please let me know. I look forward to working with you all, as well as some of the other organizations throughout the ward that are doing phenomenal work already. I just want to add value. What's that?
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to add value to the work that's already being done. Organizations like the Ward 5 Council of Education, clearly all the civic associations out there, and I also want to work more directly with our ANC commissioners because they're doing a yeoman's job and they aren't being paid to do it. So with that, I'll close my remarks. Again, thank you all for all your hard work throughout the campaign. I look forward to this partnership, and I will look forward to moving Ward 5 forward positively. And I'm going to open the floor up. I saw a hand raised up, so I'm going to open the floor for any questions anybody might have.
Hi, Kenyan. I just want to congratulate you on your win. I know you guys worked very, very hard. And one thing I think that a lot of the council right now is missing, and I work for the state superintendent's office, particularly with education, is that many of the actors who are involved in issues that deal with children don't trust each other. So our office doesn't trust DCPS. DCPS doesn't trust us. None of them trust. No one trusts the deputy mayor for education's office, right? And so you have these actors who are battling each other for like these marginal territories, which is really dysfunctional and not really helping our children. So far, the council has, they've done things piecemeal, and unfortunately, I think all the actors can agree that sometimes they do things without consulting the people who are actually implementing and administering some of the programs they create. So Kwame Brown's bill and the omnibus bill that just passed requires our agency to collect all types of data, et cetera. And we actually, with the last budget, only got 13 more full-time employees equivalent. So it's a big question mark as to how we're actually going to implement it. I would just request, as the new council member who's coming in, that it would be really helpful if we had someone on the council who would be able to get all of these actors together, so that there's some type of forum. It hasn't happened yet, and unfortunately, there's not someone authoritative who can say, okay, we're all going to sit down at the same table. And I don't know that if it doesn't come from the council or someone from the mayor's office, that actually is going to happen. So we would love to do something with you, with the other actors. We would love to create that conversation. So I don't know if you have a business card, but we'd love to invite you to some event to get everyone at the same table.
Well, I appreciate the invitation, and I don't have a business card yet. You can't spend taxpayer money until you're actually sworn in. So I don't begin my my tenure with the controversy. But I will tell you this: I genuinely appreciate your remarks because having served as an advisor to the Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice, I've seen firsthand how at times the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing when it comes to government, even where there have been overtures by one agency to work with another. Interagency collaboration is critical to making sure the government functions, to make sure the government is efficient, so that we aren't duplicating services. And so I appreciate your remarks, and to the extent I can as a council member, I mean, it really is going to depend a lot on the executive to make sure that these agencies are sitting at the table together. But to the extent that I can bring people together, I know how critical collaboration is. And for me, I think people will appreciate, obviously the people who do campaigns might not. For me, there's no pride in ownership. I don't have to have my name attached to something. If it works, I'll support it, and I'll give somebody else the credit for it. But I realize, how important it is to have people seated at the table, particularly when we talk about issues like education. Obviously, Ward 5, we're trying to make some strides in education. We've got some good news in the budget. That they funded the two middle schools that we're going to have in Ward 5. And so we want to make sure that we work with all those offices, whether it's OSI, the Deputy Mayor for Education, DCPS, to make sure that they're doing their jobs. Because at the end of the day, if they aren't working together, then we don't benefit. Our kids don't benefit. And I'm in the business of doing whatever is in the best interest of our children. And I'm not saying that simply as a council member or as a candidate, but as a parent of 2 young daughters myself. So I appreciate your remarks, and you can count me in as one of the people who will try to facilitate that collaboration.